What's up guys? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Pennisi. I'm the fitness director at Millsaps Training Facility. And in today's video, I'm going to take you through a full body stretch and mobility routine that is really good for motocross. So this is meant to be kind of a follow along stretch routine. So it's the same routine that I take my guys through all the way from our youngest member to our top professional. Every time I stretch, I go ahead and take my phone, I pull up a stopwatch, and then all I do is I just push start and I just let it keep rolling. I use this as a reference because first off, if you think you're counting to 30 in your head when you're stretching, you're not. We get so uncomfortable in these stretches that subconsciously our body just wants us to get out of that position. So you may think you're counting perfectly 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000. I bet that if you set a 30-second timer and then did your stretch and tried to count in your head, you would beat the timer by probably 5 to 10 seconds. All right, here we go, let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing I always do, like I said, I got my phone, push start on the stopwatch, now that's rolling. So we're gonna hold every stretch for 30 seconds. Position this phone so I can actually see it. So the first one is gonna be a standing dead hang with a chin tuck. So I start my feet right around shoulder width apart. Go ahead, take note of the time. I'm gonna reach down towards my toes. Now the whole point of this is to really feel the weight of your torso coming down to the ground. I'm not so concerned about actually getting to my toes or touching the floor. I just want to feel the weight of my body coming down on my hamstrings. Just feel this lighting up the whole back side of your leg. And then to add one more little extra level, go ahead and tuck your chin. Go ahead and tuck your chin all the way down to your chest. As you do that, you should feel your entire back all the way. I feel it literally from the back of my head all the way down to the top of my hips. It just lights me up. Probably because it's first thing in the morning and I'm kind of tight from sleeping. So I've been stretching for 30 seconds. We'll go ahead and move on to the next one. So the next stretch is going to be a standing quad, but I want you guys to think about the glute squeeze as well as keeping your abs active. So when I do this, I need something to support myself so I can stay standing. Reach up, I grab the top of my foot, kind of back towards my toes. And then this is where I want you to squeeze your glutes, push your hips through, pull your foot up so your heel's going towards your butt. And then I want you to squeeze your abs. So that should bring your rib cage down, pushes your hips in, and that really isolates this hip, quad, hip flexor area. Stretching, about 10 more seconds. Same thing, keep those abs engaged. Keep your glutes squeezing. Okay, go ahead and switch. So again, I grab the top of my foot, squeeze my glutes, engage my abs, brings my rib cage down. Keep stretching, about halfway. Next up, we're gonna go ahead and isolate our hamstrings. So, first thing we do, still got my stopwatch, take note of the time. Now I'm just gonna reach one hamstring at a time. Try to grab your toes if you can. If you want a little added challenge, you can go ahead and take both hands and push. I'm pretty tight this morning, so I'm gonna go ahead and stick with just the one hand. Keep stretching, got about 12 seconds left. One thing to think about while you guys are stretching, while you're stretching, you need to be taking long, deep breaths. And every time you exhale, that's 30, go ahead and switch legs. Every time you exhale, you should feel a decrease in like your abdomen, the pressure. And so every time you breathe out, you should be able to get just a little bit deeper into your stretch, especially as time goes on. So I take note of the time, 30 seconds. You can see as I loosen up here and as I breathe deeply, I can get just a little bit further with each of my stretches. Almost there, about 3 seconds. and relax. This next stretch is called seated butterfly. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna put the pads of your feet together, bottoms of your feet. I want you to grab your toes, hike them in pretty much as far as you can without hurting yourself. And if you need a little bit extra, grab your ankles, put your elbows on top of your knees, and push down. Really lights up the inside of your groin. Holy cow. Couple deep breaths. As I breathe out, sink a little deeper into the stretch. So far so good, got about 10 seconds left. Relax. Okay, so this next stretch is gonna be a deep lunge isometric hold. So what that's gonna look like, is you're gonna go ahead and take a big step forward from your knees. All right, and one thing to think about, even though we're not weight bearing, you still wanna always have your knees stacked over the top of your toes. We try not to push it inward at all. Outward is better than inward, but we still like it to be directly stacked over our toes. And then what you wanna do is lean deep, try to push your hips into the ground, and then drop your chest towards the mat. This should really be lighting up the whole inside, back side of your thighs, really deep up into your glutes. Keep stretching, take note of my time. Still got about 10 seconds. Keep stretching, keep stretching. And if you're really advanced, you can try to go down to your forearms. And relax. Go and switch legs. Same thing, nice big step. Drop my chest down towards the ground. Knees stacked over top of my toe, maybe even a little bit outside of my toe, which is good body mechanic habit. A couple deep breaths. Take a look at my stopwatch. Okay, time. All right, this next stretch is called the piriformis stretch. It's called that because we're actually targeting the piriformis muscle, which is located deep underneath your glutes, deep underneath your butt. So to do this one, you wanna start by laying down on your back. Then you wanna take your ankle and kind of cross it over on top of the other knee. So you make like a number 4. Then one arm goes through your legs, you have your knee, the other arm goes around. I like to interlock my fingers and then just lean back and pull. Take note of your stopwatch. Couple deep breaths. For every breath, try to sink just a little bit deeper into that stretch. And go ahead and switch sides. So again, I cross my ankle over, make that number 4. One arm goes around, the other arm goes through my legs. And I lean back and I pull. Take note of my stopwatch. Almost there, got about 5 seconds. All right, go ahead and relax. So this next stretch is a hip flexor stretch. So the way we get into this one is you start on your knees, you're gonna put one leg in front, all right, right about 90 degrees. And then while keeping your abs engaged, keep that rib cage down, I want you to push through your glute, push forward, and feel it lengthen on the front side of this leg that's down, right? So we push, 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 there, I feel it stretching. Take note of my stopwatch, 30 seconds. Try not to lean super far forward with this one, it kind of takes away from the stretch. Keep your torso nice and tall, keep that glute squeezed, sink deep, push your hips down towards the ground. A couple deep breaths. about 8 seconds. Okay, go ahead and switch sides. Set it up the same way, foot in front of us, leg is about 90 degrees. Keep my torso nice and tall. Go ahead and sink into it. So just to be clear, I shouldn't feel any kind of a stretch on the leg that's up. It's all on the leg that's down, right on the front side of the hip. Okay, keep stretching, a couple deep breaths. Sink just a little bit deeper, keep my torso nice and upright. About 5 seconds. All right, now we're gonna move on to the ankle sit. So this one's exactly as it sounds. We're targeting this front part of our ankle. So the way we do this, you go ahead and point your toes away from you. And then all you wanna do is sit on your ankles. Pretty self-explanatory. If this is too much right off the bat, go ahead and lean forward, take a little bit of weight off, and just kind of ease your way back into it. It took me quite a while to be able to just full weight sit on my ankles, and even now it's still pretty uncomfortable because just I run a lot, so my ankles are really stiff. So I've got my stopwatch, 15 seconds starting now. Just gonna get 10 more seconds of this. All right, and as we come up out of that ankle stretch, we're gonna go ahead and hit the other side now. So we got the front side, now we gotta hit the back side. So we do that by a calf stretch. So the way I like to do this is you set up in a push-up position. This is the one time I'm gonna say I want your butt up really, really high. You're gonna drive one heel back towards the ground, and I take this other foot, put it on the heel, and try to help it rock back. All right, take note of the time. About halfway. This one's really lighting up my entire calf, all the way up my hamstring, into my butt a little bit. Yikes. Tight this morning. All right, about 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and switch sides. Same thing, keep that butt really high up in the air. Drive that heel down towards the ground, push your butt up in the air. Doing good, about 10 more seconds. And go ahead and relax. All right, for this next stretch, you'll need a wall or a ledge, something you can push on. You can even use a physio ball if you need. Go ahead and start my timer. So this is stretching our lats, which is this big long muscle down the side of my armpit. What we're gonna do is you're going to put your hands on your wall or your physio ball, your chair, whatever you have. And then you're going to sit back a little bit. So I got my arms fully extended. And then all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push my chest in between my arms until I feel it stretching my lats, my armpit, my chest a little bit. Just gonna push through and we're gonna hold it. Got about 10 seconds left. And relax. All right, so this next stretch is called floor angels. So what this is doing is it's actually helping put your shoulders back in the position that they're meant to be in. So you might find if you have a shoulder click or a pop or something that kind of happens after activity, after exercise, this should actually make that go away. Just because, like I said, it pulls your shoulders back and puts them into a position that they're meant to be in. So I'm gonna go ahead and lean back. Got my timer set. Again, all you wanna do is you want to make sure your lower back, your entire lower back is against the ground. So if I tried to stick a pole in between my back and the ground, I wouldn't be able to get it through. After that, you're gonna go ahead and rest your entire arm, my index finger, my elbow, my wrist, everything I can get into the ground, I do. Trying to make full contact, and all you're gonna do is do like an overhead press motion. Come down as far as you can. Try not to let your wrist and your index finger leave the ground. We're just gonna do a few reps. Do reps for about 30 seconds. Slow and control. It's gonna really squeeze as you get down. Your lower back's gonna wanna come off, your wrists are gonna wanna come off. Really fight it, try not to let that happen. Take a look at our timer, about 10 more seconds. One more rep. And relax. Nice. All right, hang with me. We only got a handful left. I promise we're almost getting done. So this next stretch is called Scorpion Stretch. It's a little bit more advanced, so make sure you take your time, take it slow. Don't do anything that's gonna hurt yourself. So I go ahead, I start my timer. I'm gonna lay down on my stomach, and I'm gonna have my arms up in kind of a Y position. From there, I'm gonna take one leg, and all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw it to the opposite side of my body while keeping the opposite arm where it was. So right now, I should be feeling it all along this part of my body, my chest, into my armpit, my bicep, the whole shebang. So here we go. Set up into a Y. I want to stretch this right side, so I'm gonna take my left leg, rotate, throw it over, look at my stopwatch. 30 seconds. About 8 more seconds. This is a good example. As I take a deep breath in, you can watch my back leg wants to pick up off the ground. That's a perfect example of being able to sink deeper into the stretch as you breathe out. All right, keep my stopwatch going. Now time to hit the other side. So I get up in that Y position, throw one leg up and over. Deep breaths. This side's actually quite a bit tighter than my other side, so I'm gonna have to rotate back just a little bit, make sure the stretch isn't too intense. Stretching is always a fine line between discomfort and pain. So discomfort is fine. We like discomfort. That means that we're pushing our body's capabilities, but pain is a no-go, right? So if you're stretching and you feel pain during any of these, actual pain, why don't you just go ahead and cut it off right there, all right? We have 2 more stretches, 2 more to finish it out. First one is spine twist. So I have my timer set. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay on my back. I'm going to do everything I can to keep both of my shoulders in contact with the ground. And then I'm gonna take one leg. I'm gonna throw it all the way over. Let your hips twist too. And try to touch. The whole objective is to try to touch this knee to the ground while keeping the opposite shoulder against the ground as well. So as you can see, I'm having a difficult time, I'm pretty tight. So if you need a little bit of help, I like to grab my knee with this hand, pull it down, and then force my left shoulder to stay towards the ground. Okay, go ahead and switch sides. So again, I take one leg, throw it all the way over. I'm gonna try to keep this opposite shoulder against the ground. And this stretch is another really good example, take note of my timer, of when I take a deep breath in, you can watch my knee will come up and my shoulder will come up. That's not me lifting them up, it's just as you breathe, that intra-abdominal pressure starts to build and it just kind of lifts everything up. So then when you breathe out, you can really sink in. So just like this. It's pretty subtle, but if you look closely, you can see it. Do one more deep breath. All right, relax. Okay, that brings us to our last stretch, which is gonna be cat camel. So if you haven't done this one before, it's really about controlling your thoracic spine, or the middle of your torso. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna set up on all fours. I'm gonna be on my knees, I'm gonna be on my hands. I'm gonna go ahead and start my timer. And then the cat portion is gonna be, I'm going to pull my shoulders back, tilt my head up, and I'm going to really try to stick my butt back and round my spine into an arch, right? Kind of look like a cat when it does a big old stretch. And then the opposite side of the motion is gonna be where I try to look like a camel. So I go all the way in, I sink into my shoulders, sink my belly down towards the mat, and then I'm gonna reverse it. And I'm pushing away from the ground with my shoulders and pushing away with my knees. I try to tuck my tailbone. So again, it'll look like this. Sink in deep to the mat and push away. Really trying to round. So the breathing for this last stretch is as you sink into the mat, you should be inhaling. And then as you push away and try to round your back, you should be exhaling. I want you to try to push out all your air like you're blowing up a balloon, right? You should really feel your abs turn on. Okay, so I look at my timer, 30 seconds on the clock. Sink in. And blow out. Sink into the mat really deep. And back out. Last one. Okay, so there you have it. That's a full body stretch and mobility routine. It's really good for motocross. So again, just a quick recap. What we're doing is static stretching. So if you're not riding and not training that day, you can go ahead and do it in the morning, first thing when you wake up, and then again when you go to bed. Or if it's a training day, I recommend doing the foam rolling and the dynamic stretching in the morning, along with a little bit of cardio, and then do this type of stretching when you're done for the day. It's kind of a cool down to flush out some of that lactic acid, get some of your range of motion back, and just really starts to facilitate some recovery and some cool down for you. And try to remember that when it comes to stretching, there's a couple elements that are really important. First off, breathing. Breathing is super important when it comes to stretching, just because it is really the control center for your body's tension. So as you inhale really deeply, you're gonna feel tension build, the stretches will get difficult to hold, but then as you breathe out, your heart rate slows down, your body's tension decreases, and it kind of allows you to sink into that stretch just a little bit deeper. So if you can get into these uncomfortable positions and to learn how to control your breathing, that's some next level control, next level recovery. Another thing to keep in mind is that we're always pushing for discomfort, not pain. So if you feel pain during any of these, I'm talking like 0 to 100, ouch, that hurts, then you need to stop, right? Discomfort's okay. Discomfort means that we're kind of pushing the limits of our body, but we don't like pain. This is meant to make you feel good. It's not meant to bring pain. And again, if you haven't seen my video on foam rolling, I'll go ahead and link that in the description. Make sure you check that out. Thank you guys so much for checking out the video. I hope you got something from it, and I will see you guys next time.